Have you ever been playing Left 4 Dead and stumble upon a place that doesn't seem quite right? It might be quite dark or disturbing. Well, these places are the places I'll be talking about today in my unremarkable and odd places in Left 4 Dead. I might talk a bit slower, but I'm trying to get you to focus on what I'm showing you. The term unremarkable and odd was not originally created by me. I got it from a YouTuber called Any Austin. He makes really good videos, so go and support him. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. I want to give him credit where credit is due, but I wanted to apply it to a game that I really enjoy. If we get to 1,000 likes on today's video, I'm gonna be posting some baby bunny pictures. I'll show some on screen right now. I'll post some different ones, but these are what they're gonna look like. They're pretty cool, so if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, and for every subscriber I get, I'm gonna be posting one extra photo. So make sure you subscribe. You can come back to my channel, or you'll see it on my community tab on your homepage as soon as I post it. But with that being said, let's jump into some unremarkable and odd places in Left 4 Dead 2. So for the first unremarkable and odd place, I'm gonna bring you to the first map on Coldstream. And if you guys watched my videos, you might have known that I've shown a similar place, or I should say a place closer to this. The reason why I mention this place as unremarkable and odd is because of the little nooks and crannies and little Easter eggs that you can find in this area. If you come up to this shack after you make your way down the bridge and over the river, if you come over here, you can see that there's a lot of assets just strawn up over here. There's a sniper over here that you can pick up, and what's interesting about this spawn is it's only a single sniper. So the sniper doesn't actually stay there allowing for multiple people to pick it up. You can just grab it once. If you look over here, you can actually move these things out of the way, and there's some writing here. It says, "The not-so-survivors were here." This is pretty interesting because I really like when they put small little things like this. Within itself, it's a little Easter egg. It's not that important. But the fact that it's here and that it's so small is what really adds so much to this map. In a world where stuff is mostly created by AI now, it's nice to know that there were once people who put little things like this. And I'm not saying game creators don't do it anymore, it's just getting less and less as time goes on. You can explore this wooded area, and it reminds me something of a Sasquatch video you might have seen not so long ago. But as you make your way into this house, there's a bunch of things just strewn everywhere like in the other place. You can see that there's faint writing on the wall right here that says "No escape," along with what looks like a Japanese kanji, or maybe it's Chinese kanji. And if you come over here, there's actually a toilet, and if you press E, you can actually open both of these doors, which I find pretty cool, and it seems like they auto close. I've never seen this asset used in any other map, so I thought it was pretty cool to point out. Interesting dirty ass fridge here. And if you come up here, there seems to be a few dead bodies with a bunch of blood and trash on the ground, but over here it seems to be a picture of a family, people who once lived here, and funnily enough it says "Zombies ate my homework, pew pew." These pictures are most likely family members of the developers who made this map, as Coldstream wasn't originally made by Valve. It was made by a separate team that then got added. It adds much needed character to a map that otherwise doesn't have a good standing in the story because, like I said, it is not canon. If you break out of this window, you can jump over here, making your way across this log, allowing you to open a hatch over here. If you make your way by opening this bunker and come down here, like I've said, I've shown this in another video, but there's a bunch of writing you can read. But if you come and you turn this corner, you can see a little interesting note here. Chet was here, with a guy that is presumably Chet. But yeah, like I said, if you've seen my videos before, I've shown this place, so it might be worth it to come through here and check it out yourself. But with that being said, let's move on to the next unremarkable and odd place in Left 4 Dead 2. For the second unremarkable and odd place, I bring you to the first map on Death Toll. If you make your way past this opening, which there's a little Easter egg that's from Crash Course, but if you make your way past all these cars, there's two sides of this map that you can go on, either the right or left. And you're not technically supposed to go to your right or left, you're supposed to go straight. You're supposed to come down here, go up that ladder, and go through that tunnel. What I like about Left 4 Dead is it gives you the option to explore. If we go to the right here, you can see that the dark clouds give you this overwhelming feeling of darkness. There's barely any vegetation over here besides some shrubs on the ground and maybe some assets here. And you make your way over here and you find that there's just 2 little dead trees. Never mind, there's like 4. There's some rocks back here. And I'm assuming this is where hordes would usually spawn. There's definitely some interesting features here. It seems like this asset right here either got messed up or maybe it's 2 assets put in one. But as you look at this formation, it's very interesting because there's not really stuff used like this in a lot of other maps. In a lot of other maps, the spawning for the zombies is done out of reach, so that either the survivors walk through the area later or they just completely spawn out of the map. Whereas with this one, they spawn technically out of the map, but you can come and explore this place. This asset texture clashes with this asset texture, which ends up making this line super harsh to look at. But this is not the only place like this in Death Toll. If you walk from over here, and like I said earlier, if you walk to your left past these shrubs, there's a fallen down tree you can find with a bunch of pieces of extra wood along with some branches on the ground. There's some rocks over here that look like the rocks earlier. You can see that there's a little divot over here. And again, we have one of these kind of dugout areas. You can see that hordes definitely spawn here. They make their way out here, they turn to their left, and that's where they eventually fight the players. A lot of people don't know you can actually come to the left over here and climb up here as well. I just found this out a couple of weeks ago, and it's pretty interesting. I thought this was the only place you could come. To many people, you might be asking, why am I even showing you this? This seems completely pointless. I would never even give a shit about these areas. But to me, they mean a lot because these are places I never even looked at when I was a kid, and I've been playing this game since I was in kindergarten. Put that in perspective. I have been playing this game since I was in kindergarten, probably even before, and I'm in college now. I think there's something to be said about the importance of something just being unremarkable. Not all of these places are gonna be a dead guy or maybe some really cool burning car. It's gonna be some area that was kind of thought of previously, but then eventually just no one cares. Like this area, this place had to be made because they needed a place for hordes to come out of and eventually attack the player. However, from the player's perspective, they will never, or they're supposed to never care about a place like this. There are no reason to come back here. And like I said previously, I think that's what makes these places so special. But let's move on to the next unremarkable and odd place. For the next unremarkable and odd place, I bring you to the 4th map on No Mercy, and this area is one of the, if not the most lore receiving or lore giving area in the game. You can learn a lot from just looking into each of these rooms. But before we get into that, let's look over here. There's a bunch of dead bodies, and if you take your time to stop, look, there's a story told here. From the obvious, you could probably tell that this is a cop. They have a baton, they have a badge, they have the whole uniform, and you can actually move their ragdolls, which I find pretty cool. If you come over here, there's another cop. His blood is all over the floor and his body is laid here. He is another ragdoll which you can move. If you come down the hall, there's another dead cop who seems to be either have killed outside here and his body pushed against this wall, or maybe he was dragged out from that bed. But even if you go back down these stairs and go to the beginning of the level, there's cops all throughout this hospital. And to me, that's indicative of cops trying to stop the spread. If you read the wiki or may have saw in a previous video of mine, the virus could have originated from No Mercy Hospital, and that would explain why there's a lot of cops here. Because after a while, if you think about it, cops wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So if you see a bunch of dead cops, that's indicative of that's the first place they went to. But like I said about these rooms, if you come in here, you can see some x-rays, and these are all individual assets that were only in No Mercy, so it's pretty cool. You can see there's some more x-rays on the walls. Out here, there's a bunch of dead bodies along with some weapons. There's caution tape put up in between these two areas. And like I said earlier about the virus originating, or maybe the first person being infected, is from this area. And now there's multiple rooms that person could have been held in. This is one of the rooms that you could think it is. This is one of the rooms you could think it is. And this is another one, along with all these rooms down here. There's piles and piles of bodies outside these rooms. But if I had to say who was patient zero, it was most likely this guy. So his identity is said right here, NA. We can actually break the glass right here and enter this room. But if you guys have any reason to think it's one of these other rooms, let me know down in the comments below. In each of these rooms, you can see that there's TVs, although this TV doesn't seem to have a screen and is just an empty black box. There's a hole in the ceiling here, which I'm guessing special infected can spawn in, or maybe hordes might jump down through here. There's another room over here. There's some stuff dropped down, another hole in the ceiling, which again might be a horde or special infected spawn. There's more rooms back here, and you can see from this wall color change, it might be hard to see, but these are where some of these walls can actually get broken down. So it will open up the map if that does happen. And another cool little asset, which I don't really know what it is these 3 red number counters. I don't know, maybe it's like counting the infection, but that wouldn't make sense. You know, it's a hospital here before said infection, like why would they have this up? But maybe it was installed after. If you guys have any idea what this thing is, let me know down in the comments below. But then again, the most interesting part of Mercy Hospital is the fact that this is where it could have definitely originated from, if not the place. There's a dude's cheeks. Hey, yo, why Bill reaching for it? Alright, but that's enough with this area. Let's move on to the next unremarkable and odd place. For the 4th unremarkable and odd place, I bring you to this plane crash on the 2nd map of Swamp Fever. And there is an abundance of environmental storytelling. I mean, look right in front of us. There's just a dead dude chilling here. This is very close to spawn, and I'm pretty sure every player has come across this, if you've played Swamp Fever, that is. But what you don't know is that this area is actually very open. I'm guessing that this area over here is used for infected or horde spawns. If you look at this area, there's a bunch of downed trees over here, as well as smoke that'll periodically appear. As you see right here from this engine, smoke, oh, it's easier up there. The smoke is definitely coming out of this engine, and on the other side, that engine as well. There are a lot of planes that have crashed in Left 4 Dead 2, and obviously most of them are due to the infection, but it always makes me wonder what made this specific instance crash. What made this orange and white plane go down? There's stories hidden here that not a lot of people think about, because you might just come on it in game and think, oh, it's just another asset, but it's not. You know, there was a story here. If you come to the front of the plane, there's a bunch of dead people here, which I could only assume are either the passengers or maybe zombies who the passengers might have killed or defended from. You can see that that area would lead to the cockpit, and this doesn't look like a typical cockpit entrance. It's kind of weirdly shaped, but if we go into no clip mode and we inch forward, you can see that there's no actual interior for this cockpit, which would have been interesting. But nonetheless, if you come to this side without opening the door, there's another engine over here, but oddly enough, the smoke doesn't actually come from the engine. It comes from this black spot here, which maybe a hot piece of metal might have flown here and might have burned the ground, which is causing it to smoke. If you come to the back here, you can see that this wing is back wing is kind of smashed. Tail wing, I should say. The thing is, this plane is super small. Like, it can't really carry that many people. There's 1 row, 2 row, maybe it's a few rows missing here, a bunch of rows here, a bunch of rows here, and that's really it. I mean, there's some chairs here, but point of this video is to really get you to stop, and the next time you come across a place in Left 4 Dead, really slow it down. Take a look at what you're playing. What is the story? There was weapons here next to some luggage. There's some healing item here. Like I pointed out with that dead guy here, or maybe this chair. There's a story to everything. What if this guy held out for weeks after the plane crash? Most likely it would have been days, before eventually succumbing to his fate. Over here, there's more loot. Seems to be a grenade as well as a pitchfork that you can pick up. There's a bunch of clothes here as well as some luggage, and this open area as I pointed out before. But there could be a story within every little asset. You gotta remember, these aren't just bodies. In the world of Left 4 Dead, each one of these people had a life before coming here. These aren't just assets. Now I get, yeah, they are just assets in the gameplay sense, but if you're actually immersing yourself in the world of Left 4 Dead, it's quite sad to think about. But let's move on to the next strange and odd place. For the very last unremarkable and odd place, I bring you to the 4th/5th map on Dead Air. And the reason why I say that is because technically I'm on the 4th map, but I'm in the 5th map, if that makes sense. If you go into no clip mode, you can actually no clip out of this area right before you enter the safe room to begin the finale. If you come out here, you can explore this area, and exiting no clip, it actually allows you to walk around. There are a lot of differences and a lot of of differences between this version of what you see and the version you see when you actually get here. One of the voice lines Bill says if you go up to one of the windows is that he guessed it, they're bombing the airport, which is a very interesting bit of lore drop. This entire area is completely different. All this rubbish is piled up into a corner over here, or like a straight line that blocks the player from accessing the rest of this open area. There's a bunch of these walking platforms here, which may or may not be in the next version. I would have to double check, but there's a way more amount of planes in this version than in the other version. You can see that they included the finale helicopter, which I got grilled into the ground by calling it an AC-130. This is a C-130 because it's not armed to the teeth with the weaponry on the side. The plane community did not enjoy me calling that an AC-130. Now, I get why they didn't make this a one-to-one, because you're not supposed to necessarily access it yet. You're supposed to be able to see it, but not interact with it. A bunch of these assets are just in completely different areas. Some of it is same. Like, I believe that's maybe this is here. This doesn't look right though. Again, I would have to double check. That head might be gone. There's an armored truck right here, or an armored car, whatever you want to call it. They are able to climb on here. That's just not here. And there's something about the wind, the sky, the clouds, the moon, and this area that just makes me feel so decrepit. There's more broken planes as we make our way out here. And like I said, there's a bunch of these walking platforms. And the fact that this place is so unremarkable is what makes it so cool to me. You know, when I was playing on my console, I could never experience stuff like this. Well, because one, I was a pretty dumb kid. I didn't know how console commands worked or stuff like that. But let me know, could you access console commands on the console version of the game, like the Xbox 360 version of Left 4 Dead? Because I don't know if you'd be able to. Most of these you can actually just walk straight through, as they're not actual assets. I mean, they are, but they're not solid, I should say. And like I've said many times throughout this video, next time you go through a place, really stop and look. Maybe you could do what I do, go out of your way, look at places like this, where it seems like some of it is solid, some of it isn't. There's engines, a lot of the same assets just reused, but it's the fact that it's just so big, open, and there's like nothing here. Like, it's almost completely unrecognizable, and it's very much brighter. Let's just say it's a lot brighter than the other version. And a cool little Easter egg or like fact is you can actually jump onto that plane, jump over here, get on top of this, and walk up here on this platform. It's interesting because you can't continue to walk over here. There is a gate here, but it's like completely blocked off. But on this side, there is no door here. It's just a wall. I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking it at this point. And if you come out here, it's kind of hard to make out. But if you look on top here, you can kind of get a glimpse of it. If I go like this, a plane just straight up crashed into the airport. And I guess bombing all modes of transportation, or I should say major modes of transportation, really works, because people would just be flooding to the airport in a scenario like this. But yeah, that's the last unremarkable and odd place I have for you guys in today's video. I thought I should just bring it back to how I used to make my videos. It seemed like you guys really enjoyed these ones, so I'm gonna give you guys what you want. Remember, if we get to 1,000 likes, I'm gonna be posting some baby bunny pictures. Leave a comment down below if you made it to this part. I'd be pretty interested. If you guys have any places you want me to look at, leave those down below. That's all I have to say. My name's Cookie Blitz, or you could call me Lyndon. Have a nice rest of your day. Peace out.